Hello friends, this is Cara-Renee with B.Reborn Art and Healing, coming to you with the construction of our lap book journal as well as a regular standard cover. So I mentioned in an earlier video, I am so in love with this library theme that I've decided to do the lap book and do a 2 signature journal. So there'll be 2 separate projects. They will both be available for sale when they are finished. But I thought we would go ahead and do the construction. I know many of you probably have never done a lap book. Sometimes they can be complicated. I know when I did my very first one, I could not find a video on YouTube that just showed the construction, like just the basic construction. So that's what we're going to start with. We're going to try to get it covered with this amazing Tim Holtz fabric. Look at this fabric. It's so incredibly perfect for this journal. Look at that. I mean, it's just like epically beautiful. I am so excited. I didn't really, our Joann's, I mean, they're not completely closed, but they've got virtually nothing. We're here it's in Vancouver. So I decided that I would go ahead and just check online for some fabric, and I didn't really find anything on Amazon. So I headed over to Etsy, and I knew I wanted something that was kind of grungy because it's the Grungy lap book, Grungy Library projects. So this is what we're going to use. I love it because it is not terribly thick. Okay, it's a very, very lightweight, almost, it feels really smooth. It's got a really great feel to it. So it's called Abandoned, Eclectic Elements by Tim Holtz, Abandoned. So that is our fabric. These are the pieces that, if you're following along, these are the pieces that you're going to need. Now, I use chipboard, as you can see here. It is my preferred method because I don't have a lot of large boxes, and I like the durability of it. This is a 50-point chipboard, and I bought it. I just repurchased it, and I haven't bought it in 2 years, over 2 years. So it's very affordable, and it makes a lot of journals. So I will link that below. I did use this paper tape, and it didn't really hold, so we won't be using that. I just did it for the sample, just to kind of work out my measurements and bring you something to kind of look at there. So this is the standard journal, 2¼ inch spine by 8 3/4 inch in height. The front and back cover are 5 3/4 by 8 3/4. And then our lap book, it looks complicated, but it's really not. So you have 4 panels that measure the exact same size. So 5 3/4 by 8 3/4, and 2 mini spines, 1½ inches by 8 3/4, and 1 main spine that in this case I'm making 3 inches by 8 3/4, and we'll talk about that a little bit more as we get along with the project. But I'm going to go ahead and get going here. So I've got my chipboard over here. Let me just move some things here so I can get it out. And I'm going to use my big cutter. Now, you could do this with cardboard, with a cereal box, whatever. You just have to be mindful that it's not going to be as durable, which maybe is not a big deal. For me, it matters. So you just have to keep that in mind. This is very, very thick. I don't know if you could tell in that picture, but it's a very thick, very durable chipboard. So we're going to work with that. So I'm going to set this over here because I need the space. So there we go. So I'm going to open this beautiful baby up. This is the precision cutter, and it's by Fiskars. So when I cut chipboard, I like to bring the blade this way and push it this way because I get a little bit more momentum, because it is a little bit hard to do. So I'm just going to kind of set that there, and then we're going to start cutting. We're going to start cutting our 8 3/4 inch side. So we can't use this side because I believe it measures, it's too small. So it is 8½. So that won't work. So we're going to cut our 8 3/4 this way. So I'm going to go ahead and just get this in my cutter here, and I'm going to cut that at 8 3/4. And we're going to make this 5 3/4. Now, I don't like that measurement on my board, as I mentioned often. So I am going to mark it here on my chipboard using my ruler. If I can reach my pencil. What did you do with your pencil, Cara-Renee? It's not there. What did I do with my pencil? I do not know. Oh, there's another one. There's another one. So we're going to do this one at 5 3/4. So 5 3/4. Okay. And I'm just going to cut that on that pencil line. Now I am pulling that towards me, even though I told you I wasn't. My arms got really tired. I have another project where I'm using some of these offcuts because it's like I have like a drawer full of these pieces that I can't use. So I'm trying to drum up ideas for how to use that chipboard. So now I just take this. I'm going to check the measurements just before we get going too far into the weeds here. 5 3/4 by 8 3/4. So that's perfect. So now I just traced the other ones. So we need 4 in total of the large one. So I'm going to go ahead and just make a pencil mark. And 4. Okay, so now let's cut these. So this is our first one. I'm going to put that up there so I don't toss it. And I am going to pull this way so that you guys can see. Now this can be done with a regular cutter, I believe, but it is tricky. It's a thick chipboard, so you'll have to be mindful of that when you decide what material you are going to use. So I'm going to take a minute and just cut all these, and I'll be right back. I just realized I forgot to get out my gaffer's tape, so I'll grab that too, and we'll use that to bind these pieces together. So we have 4 that are the same size, 8 3/4 by 5 3/4, and now we need a 3-inch spine. I think these are all too small. If I recall, I have to use a whole nother piece. Yeah, they're all too small. So that's unfortunate, and that's why I have a lot of scraps of this stuff. So we want the main spine again to be 3 inches. And we'll talk about this before we tape them together as well so that we can review what's going where. Okay, so there's our 3-inch. And then we, again, want to do the 5 3/4. So I'm just going to borrow one of these and just cheat. I'm going to cheat because I don't trust this, and I have not yet figured out where that 5 3/4. I can't even figure out where the authentic, accurate 6-inch mark is on that. I don't know if it's on that white line or what. So I've looked at it before, but then I don't trust it. So I go the other route and do it the hard way. Okay, so there's our 3-inch spine. Now these pieces are tricky because you're cutting narrow. So because we're only wanting 1.5 inches. So I'm going to cut this piece, which is the rest of that one that I just cut the 3-inch spine off of. And let's pull that out. And I'm going to cut that down. Okay. See, look at all these scraps, you guys. It's ridiculous. I've got to get creative. Okay, so now we want 1.5. And I'm just going to use this also throws me because it's over the cutter area. So I'm just going to go ahead and measure it as well. Just mark my bits here. So we've got 1.5 and then 1.5. I'm just going to move it just because I trust that. Of course, you guys are probably much more brilliant than me in regards to a ruler and measurements. So now I'm going to cut down each of those lines. Move that cutter. This is where it gets tricky because now you don't have anything to really hold on to here, which is always kind of tricky. I think I've got it though. And then just cut that last piece, okay? And we are done with the big cutter. Did I get my two pieces? Where's my other piece? Did I just throw it away? I did. Those are our 2 pieces. This is the 3-inch spine. So I pulled a bunch of these because I didn't count how many I needed. which is fine and dandy. So I'm going to move the cutter over here, and I'm going to take a moment and get that gaffer's tape. It's just over here in my drawer. I need to order more because it's almost gone. I'm hoping that I have enough for these projects, so that's where we're getting to. I will again link this. I love this tape. It works very, very well. So the other thing I need is my transparent tape, and I'll show you why. Pardon my squeaky chair. I do not know what to do about it. I don't know what to do about it. So where I start is I start with my main spine and 2 pieces of the cover. So if you were just doing a standard journal, this would be your spine, front, and back cover. Okay, so we're going to start with that. So I like to line these up and leave a little gap. So probably about 1/8 of an inch. I guess that's 1/8 of an inch. Let me get more precise for you. Yeah, about 1/8 of an inch. It doesn't have to be precise. And then I like to put a little bit of tape here because it can move when you try to tape them together. So I'm going to go ahead and just do that in 2 places on each of these. Okay, we're going to do the same with this one. Again, it just keeps it from moving, shifting when you start putting the gaffer's tape on. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to end up with 2 layers of gaffer. Well, maybe not. We'll have to see how much I have because I really need enough to do both of these journals. I do have some other tape that I could use for the standard journal if I need to. So I'm going to cut off. I'm going to need a total of well, I don't know, like 6 or 7 strips. So I'm just going to do that really quick. I don't think we're going to have enough for both journals, so I'll have to grab a different tape, but that's okay. So now we're going to take this piece of tape. I didn't measure it. I just cut a really long piece, and we're going to, I love this gaffer's tape because you can see your that, you know what I mean, that. We're just going to put that down like that, put another piece on the other one. I should have bought more gaffer's tape before I did this video. My apologies, guys. Okay, and now we're just going to pick this up carefully. Okay. And we're going to turn it over. Uh-oh, don't stick. Ah! She's stuck. That's okay. We're going to put another piece on top. So we won't wrap it all the way around. We'll just cut another piece, just enough to cover this seam. That's the word I was looking for. Seam. The seam. Yeah, we should be fine. Hoping. Okay. Actually, I'm going to cut these ones. See if I can get 2 out of that longer strip, because we don't really need to double wrap it. This gaffer's tape is pretty powerful. It's great material. Okay, so just close that gap, and then with the other one, we will close this one. You don't have to worry about that lining up. It's all going to be covered. And then this is what gives me my flip-flop. The flip-flop action of my journals is that space that I leave, and it's how I construct all of my spines. So there we go. So then the next step is our 2 1/2-inch spines, and this will all, well, let me show you why they're 1 inch, since we've got one already put together. So this is what it looks like when you're done constructing it. So it's a little floppy because there's nothing in it, but it goes like this. So you want the total of the 2 mini spines to be the same size as the large spine, so you get kind of this box look. Okay, that's an important part of that. And so we're going to continue. I'm going to go ahead and tape these 2 ends on, and I will just turn the music on because this is going to be a long video if I keep yakking and I don't speed anything up. Okay, so the last step is to put on are other big pieces that are the same size as the front and back cover. So I'm going to do these one at a time because I don't have enough room to move everything here, and I'll have to cut some more tape and hope that I have enough for the project. Okay, and now we just need to close the gap on both of those panels. So I'm going to cut another, I got a magnet stuck to it. And we're going to close those gaps, and I'm not going to have enough for the other. That's the end of it. So that was perfect for the lap book though. I'm going to celebrate that. And then one more over here where you can hardly see. Okay, there we go. So then when it folds up, as I just showed you on the prototype, this is what she looks like. Okay, just like that. Okay, so before we cover, we're going to work on the other spine because I don't want to break up that process. So let me reach for a different tape option here. I've got some Tyvek tape, which I don't care for because it has Tyvek written all over it, but it is amazing as well, and it'll cover fine with our fabric. So you would want to think about that though. You want to make sure that anything that's on your tape is not going to show through your fabric. Okay, so now let's cut the pieces for the other one. It's easy peasy, right? So I'm going to bring the cutter back over here, and it's the same dimensions. I should have just cut them all at one time, but I didn't want to break up the process. So I'm going to grab 2 more pieces of the chipboard. So again, we're going to start with the 8 3/4 inch side. This is the height. Remove that. 8 3/4. This will be a 2 signature journal. So even though it's a two signature journal, I generally make a 2-inch spine. I'm allowing for a little bit more room for maybe an insert to go in the center. So again, 8 3/4. And then we're going to do one measurement by hand and do the cheat method. So let me make sure I got this going the right way. 8 3/4, so that's the height. So this is the width. So the width is 5 3/4. Again, just like with anything else, I don't worry about perfection. So I'm just going to do my very best. Okay, keep moving that cutter down. Okay, and then this one, make sure we've got it going the right way. Yep, and we'll make a pencil mark. Okay. This one here I'm showing you is how I do every journal that I make, unless I'm doing a special spine. So this one is 2 5/8. So we're going to use this one. I'm going to hope that I can just get it cut okay, because it's a narrow piece and it's just difficult for me in the cutter. So we're going to go 2 1/4. Okay. So again, this is our spine piece. Just going to slide that in. Oh, I've got room to hold it. That always helps. Okay, just making sure that it's straight. And zippity-doo-dah. Zippity-doo-dah, zippity-yay. My, oh my, what a beautiful day. My, oh my, what a beautiful day. There we go. Move that cutter. I'm running out of room here. I'm going to set it on my garbage can. There we go. Okay, so let's put this one together. Same process, exactly. It goes a little faster because there's just the 2 main pieces and then the spine. So, and I'll be saving those templates because I I had to actually go back to an old video of mine to watch how I figured out my measurements for a lap book. So, because I couldn't quite remember. I do have one piece of the gaffer's tape. Let me see if there's any more on here. I think we're down to the brown. Oh, yeah, that's that much. We're not even going to bother. Okay, so Tyvek. It is tricky. It's on this piece of plastic because it is so sticky, but it's a great product. So let me see if I can find the end of it. You guys could sing me a song while I struggle. There it is. So again, this stuff is amazing too. It's just got that Tyvek everywhere on it, so it's frustrating, but I'm just going to cut some of this as well. I think this is a little trickier to cut multiple pieces because it's so sticky, but I'm going to try. Okay, so we're going to do the same process. This is a little bit harder to see through, but don't worry about it. It's not going to be a problem. Everything's going to be fine. Okay. And I'm going to pull that up now and turn it because I don't want to deal with two majorly sticky pieces of tape. So let's just do one side at a time here. And I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this one since I cut them long. And I cut 4, so we'll just do it. Again, it doesn't matter if that's lining up. Now, I did do this, used this tape, or maybe it was the gaffer's tape when I did a mixed media cover, and I did see some of those tape lines. We're not going to see them in this project. So that's another thing to think about, as well as when we start gluing our fabric, it'll look like the glue is going to bead up on here, the bookbinding glue, which is basically just PVA glue, but it does glue. It doesn't impede it in any way, so it just seems like it will be a problem. Okay, so this side, let's move that over. You want to get it, as much in the middle there as you can, so that's our fold, or our, I don't know why that word is so hard for me. Because my brain is getting older. Do you ever just forget words that you should know? You're like, man, what is going on? What is wrong with you? She can't remember the most basic things. I'm the girl that has to tell myself out loud where I parked my car, otherwise I won't be able to find it. So, there we go. There we go. Okay. So that is the, oh, that's okay. That's okay. That is our regular journal, okay? So that is as easy as it can be. So now we're going to bring over our fabric. I'm going to clear some things out of the way here because it's going to get interesting here. So all of this can go somewhere that's not in front of me. Okay. Tyvek tape, we're done with you. Okay, so this fabric is so gorgeous. I can't even believe that I found this fabric. Okay, so since our journals are the same height, I'm debating on how I want to cut this because I really like this, but obviously we do not want waste. So let's go ahead and I'm just going to cut this down. So I'm going to do the, the snip and tear and see how well that goes. And I'm just going to tear off this whole edge. Isn't that so satisfying? I love it. Okay, there we go. So that's on the floor now. And so I'm debating here if I want to, I've got to see if this is wide enough. Now I apologize, this is not going to all be in camera because it's just way too big, but I'm hoping that I can show you. So I'm out probably a good 6 inches past the camera view here, so bear with me. yeah, this is going to be fine. So I'm going to show you, I'm just going to move it from side to side so you can see what I'm talking about. I'm going to put it kind of in position how I want it. Okay, it's going to go like this. So that's that side, and this is this side. Okay, so now I'm going to snip this, and we're going to tear down the other side. Fabric is so gorgeous. I'm not a big Tim Holtz fan. I mean, I'm not like, I don't like salivate over his stuff. I mean, I think he's a great creator and all of that, but I'm not like a wild fan in any way, shape, or form. So now I want to show you that none of that's going to show through. Now our fabric is going the wrong way. So do we care about that? That's a bummer. Because I've already made it the width, so we're going to have to just work with it. I should have looked at that first, but I did not. So I'm going to go ahead and tear. So I'm going about, it looks like about 1.5 inches above the spine. I don't really measure, so forgive me for that. Just kind of guess at it, and I'm going to just go ahead and tear this edge as well, and hope that we're pretty even. Fabric tends to tear pretty evenly. Not perfect, but that's going on the floor. Okay, there we go. So that is it. Oh yeah, that's just fine. That's just fine. So I'm just going to get this even. Let's just focus on this edge here, just so you have it in view. So again, I'm leaving 1.5 inches or so. If it's more, it's not a big deal, because we are going to line the inside of this, if I remember correctly how we do this. It's just the same as a regular journal, so I'm going to line it on the inside with the fabric as well. But I am going to cut the corners. I don't normally do it this way, but I am going to, and I'm going to just leave not much here on the corners. I'll show you here in a second. So do you see that right there? That's how much I'm leaving. I think it was Carolyn's Paper Therapy I was watching, and I never do this, and I didn't really understand the purpose for it, but she talked about how it reduces the bulk, so on that corner, and I always struggle with my corners. But because I don't worry about not being perfect, I don't really stress about it. But if you think about it, it's just like when you make a coin envelope or something and you cut off the extra panels that you don't need because it reduces the bulk for the project. It's the same idea, okay? So I'm just trying to get the angle there, so I don't have to move everything. There we go. Okay, so this is the tricky part. So I start by putting my base, my chipboard pieces on the bottom, and I start by gluing from left to right, and then I only go a distance, and then I'll turn it over. So I'll probably go to here, and then I'll turn it over, and we'll go to the next step, because it's easier to lay this down on the top. I'm just going to try to unruffle that a little bit. It got a little bit distorted. Okay, so I generally use Fabri-Tac and my PVA glue. I'm going to do that today as well, so I'm just going to turn that over so it's ready. And I've got my plate. I've just got a paper plate, and my spout on this has not worked forever, so I'm going to hope I can get this open. There we go. Looks like I need to replenish this as well. So we're going to need a lot of this, so I'm just going to be very generous with that glue. This is a big journal, okay? So I'm going to just start by applying the PVA glue over here. I use the Fabri-Tac primarily for the fabric when I do the edges. So, and this is going to get on my glass mat. I don't care, because that's what it's for. So it just allows me freedom to not worry. So it's just slopping everywhere. I do try to be pretty generous with the PVA glue. I'm going to go over these two spines, the mini spine and this piece of the cover. Like that. That looks to be a pretty good amount. PVA glue is amazing. So, all right, so we're gonna go ahead, and now I'm gonna need to stand up because I want to get this fabric down evenly. And I think I'm gonna go this route. Okay, bear with me, guys. This is a little nerve-wracking. This is a hard process to do on camera. I'm actually going to fold this in half. You can't see what I'm doing entirely, I realize. But I'm going to fold it in half so that I have a little bit more control over this edge, okay? And I'm going to bring it down, 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 down until I clear that corner. And I can kind of look at it. Yeah, it looks good, and the amount on the top and the bottom doesn't really matter too much. Okay, and then I just kind of give this a good squish. I'm going to grab a paper towel because that glue does seep through onto my fingers. So just kind of spread that out like that. Okay, and then everything we do from this point is going to be the opposite way. So now I can turn her over. I don't care if I get that PVA glue on the fabric. It's not a big deal. And it looks like we got a little bit crooked over here on this side, but again, it's not going to matter because we're going to run another piece of fabric down the center of this to cover everything. Okay, because that was really off. But it's not a deal. Oh, it might be a deal breaker here because, oh no, we're good. I just didn't have it over enough. Okay, I think, oh, that's not, look at, I'm off. Oh no, okay. This is gonna be, oh no, I can't move it either. Shoot. Okay, okay. Oh, I did not pay attention, guys. Because now I see how it's not, I've got too much over here. I should have cut them after I was done, because now I'm going to be struggling to get this to cover. I'm going to have to really stretch that fabric, but we're going to make it work. So now I'm going to fold this back on itself, okay? And I'm going to bring my glue over here, and I need to pull this back to where I left off. So, oh no, I guess I do turn it back over. I'm so sorry, you guys. I do turn it back over because you got to be able to see where you need to put your glue. And this will, you guys can see better what I did. I just didn't get that stretched. I'm going to have to really stretch that fabric. Oh, that's so disappointing, Renee. But I think we can make it work. We can make it work. We don't have a choice, do we? So this is the kind of, you got to do what you got to do phase of a process. So we're going to continue gluing. So I'm going to just do that much because I really, really have to focus on stretching this fabric so I can make sure I can meet my corner. I'm so bummed about that, you guys. I was not paying attention. Okay, so I'm going to kind of bunch this here, and I'm going to pull a little bit. See if I can, you know, get some length out of this fabric. Oh, it's so sticky. This PVA glue, you know, it's like white school glue, so it, so see that that glue is coming through, but that's going to all dry clear, so don't worry about it. But that's what that white bit is there that you see. Okay, so how are we doing stretching? Okay. It's got to be okay, you guys. It's got to be. Don't have a choice. Oh, let's finish this off. These projects can be a little bit anxiety producing which can cause me to lose my focus, and that's all that happened there. And we'll figure it out. I don't know how we'll figure it out, but we will. It may not be something, if it's really bad, then we'll have to come back to it when the cover is dry and come up with a solution, which, you know, I'm pretty good at. I don't mind saying. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and do that, and I'm going to, again, really try to pull this fabric as much as I can. Okay, just really pull it into this corner, because I need that. Oh, it's going to be fine. It's going to be fine. This corner seems to be the trickier one for some reason. It's because my fabric isn't on straight either, which again, in the whole scheme of things, is not a problem. It's just, in this case, it's creating a little bit of a problem. We just need to be able to cover that corner. And I think we're good on this corner. And this one is enough. I think we're good. I'll show you in a sec. So again, all that glue is going to dry clear. So don't you worry. Just making sure it's all the way to the edge. And really, isn't that so beautiful? Oh my gosh, this fabric is just to die for. Okay, so now we're going to turn her over. And so this is the corner I'm talking about. So we have enough. I would have liked to have had a little bit more, but we're gonna be fine. Okay. So I do still like to do the Fabri-Tac and, the PVA glue as well as the Fabri-Tac. So I'm just going to put a little bit more on my plate. It's off camera for you because there's just so much here. So let's start with the long side. So I like to do that. So I'm going to put some PVA glue just along this edge. Some of this is off camera, I realize. I'm just going all the way from one end to the other, doing the same process as you're seeing here in shot. Okay, and then we're going to pull this, and we're going to really give it a tug. Oh, I didn't use the Fabri-Tac. Let's try it without the Fabri-Tac today. I just have my rhythms and my routines, so I always do things the same way, but I don't think it's necessary. I think I've mentioned that in other videos. But we're just going to give that a good pull. See, that's sticking really, really well. That corner, I've got to clip more though, because I lost, because I didn't pull it down this far, and I don't want it to be too wide, or too much of an edge there. So I'm going to trim that off a little bit before I put that back in place. And let's see. Oh, and this one definitely, sorry, this is off camera, guys. I actually have those tools that you can make a perfect corner, but I find it very frustrating, and it just seems like it adds to my work, although this problem solving is adding to my work as well. But so I'm just going to put that back in place. There we go. Yeah. And I do want this to really, all those edges to get out of my way too, so we're just going to do that. Sorry, this is so big, guys. I just cannot get it all in the camera. Got a string there. Let's get rid of that, honey. Okay. I'm going to pull this up. Okay, just give that a good press and let that be really stuck there. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and, I'm thinking because of the way I'm going to do these, I need to do it like this, and hopefully you guys can see, and fold this corner when I do this short edge. So the idea, I think, is you kind of get this flat so you can push it in like that. So I'm going to get a little bit of PVA glue right here. Oh, that's already stuck. Wow, that's pretty nifty. Let's do the same over here. I didn't even have to put any effort into that. It just did it. Okay, so you just fold that in like that. Okay. Do you see that? It's already sticking. It's great. Okay, so let's do this edge as well. It's weird to not be using the Fabri-Tac too, because it's just always what I do. But, you know, sometimes we should question what we do, because maybe there's not a purpose to it that's, you know, that's meaningful. Okay, so we're going to do the same here. We're going to pull that up. Okay. Oh, that's such a better. Oh, that's a better corner. Thank you, Caroline. If you guys haven't checked out her channel, she does some of the sweetest stuff. I mean, just all her stuff is just precious. And she is one of the most thoughtful ladies ever. Like, she's always, you know, sending things to friends and things, making things and sending them, just like as, you know, get well or whatever the case may be. And it's just really cool. Now, we do not have much here, so I'm going to just use my finger and see if I can get some glue in there. We have barely anything there to grab. So I know this is probably hard for you to see, and I do apologize for that. I'm going to put some glue there. Yeah, I don't have enough at this end. I would have liked more. So I would probably recommend a good, probably an 1/8 of an inch at least, and that is not an 1/8 of an inch, what you're seeing here. So I'm going to hold this up so you can see what I mean. So see how little we have right there? It will work, but it's not optimal. And the same with this corner. So lesson learned, Cara-Renee. Be more careful. Okay, so now we're going to fold this edge up. Hopefully this is going to cover well. I don't mind if I get it on top of the fabric. It's gonna create like a kind of a plastic coating on it almost. It doesn't hurt anything. So I'm gonna just give that a good press and hope that I can really help that corner to stay the way I want it to be. Because this one's struggling over here big time. So we're gonna have to just accept that imperfection. Okay. And we already did that end, so now we can just do our other long side. So I'm going to speed this up because I've been talking a ton, and just finish this part up, and then we'll be ready to move on. There we go. So just kind of as I went along, I put a little bit of extra glue on that corner. It's going to be fine because I actually will probably cover the inside covers with paper anyway, so I don't really need to worry about it. It's just kind of in that interim place where you haven't really done everything. I've got a little gap here. I'm gonna stick some glue in there. It's just that in between spot where you can, when you're not to the next step, and it can kind of look weird, funky. Okay, so there we go. Got all these strings. We don't really want those strings all underneath the fabric that's going to go in the next spot. So I think I'm probably only going to do this one on camera because we're already 50 minutes. I will be able to cut the video down, but I do want to finish this part. I don't want to interrupt this part because I'm going to now cut a piece that's going to go almost to the top and the bottom and almost to the ends to cover all of this in the middle. Okay, so let me get some I gotta rinse my hands off here with a wipe just so they're not so sticky. Okay, I'm gonna reach for the fabric here, and we will have plenty for the other journal as well. I believe we should. If I don't, then I'll order more. So which was our I think it would be better to go this way now. So I'm going to set this on here, and I'm going to, I don't look for perfection here at all, guys. So I do like to have it be pretty close to the edge because of those irregularities I created with that error. So I'm going to go ahead and just snip that and tear it. Okay, hope that tore evenly. I have no place to cut fabric, so I'm kind of out of luck. Gotta just go with what I've got here. Don't have enough space, enough table space. Okay, so that is now the height that we want. So now we will make it the width. And I love the frayed edges, especially in this project, so I'm gonna embrace those. And I'm gonna just cut off the little bit that's on this end, or rather, I will do another tear. It's a very stringy fabric. Let's just get that out of there. Okay. We can cut off anything that's being a nuisance later, basically, because this could go on for eternity, you know, pulling threads. I used to sew when my kids were small, but I haven't done that for years. I felt like I lost the skill because I didn't do it for so long. So I think we're going to continue with the PVA glue, and we're just going to go as close to this as possible. It's not going to be exactly even. I'm not worried about that. So I'm just going to fold this part back, and we're going to do this section by section. You do want to be pretty generous with this and get it all stuck down, because you can get like puckers in your fabric, especially on your folds. So on your seams. That was the word I was looking for that I lost again. Okay, just making sure I've got plenty of it all the way around. And then we're gonna move that plate and roll this back, and I'm gonna just press as I go. I pulled it down though. I pulled it way down. Let me see if I can shift that back. Ugh. It's a stubborn one. There we go. That's better. Okay. And then I'm going to take that paper towel. I really want to focus here. I should have done this on the other side too and made sure that everything was sticking well on the seams of the panels. So like there. So, and then you can just kind of use your finger to massage that a little bit, or your fingernail. Okay. Oh, this is going to be so pretty. This does get really distorted at first because as the glue dries, the chipboard will actually warp a little bit. So we've got that spot here. So we've got a spot here that's not gluing. So I'm going to really press that down because we want to make sure that that folds appropriately. Oh, that's much better. Okay. So it's hard for me to show you, but it was like the fabric was puckering. It still is a little bit, so I'm just kind of smoothing it out with my fingernail. Okay. There we go. We're going to continue on. Oh man, this fabric is just amazing. Absolutely amazing. Perfect for this journal. I don't know that the papers that I'm using have a lot of that teal, but I might have to bring some of that in just to tie the cover in with the paper. So I'm just again going to just use my paper towel and just smooth that down. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to kind of bend this at the next bend and just use my finger to press that down. I moved that fabric, so I'm going to move it back. Okay. And we've got some issue there, so I'm just going to give that a good press, get it back to where I want it. It's not a huge issue in the end, but I don't like the look of it when I see that later on. I'm like, oh man, I should have taken some more time with that. Okay, so that's looking really, really good. And then we don't have another seam until we get down here. So I'm going to continue on, guys. Okay, so now we're to the small spine here, so we do need to massage this area. Oh, I think that's where we're ending, so we'll do that in a sec. So we've just got, this is our 1.5 inch spine, and this is our last panel. So I'm just going to pull that back a little bit, and as you can see, it does hold really well. So see, when I'm pulling that up even that quickly, it's pulling up some of that chipboard, which tells me that it's actually adhering very, very well and very quickly, which is why it's my go-to. This is my go-to process. So unless I'm doing kind of an interesting spine, like an open spine or something like that, then your process is different. But maybe we'll do some of that here on the channel again. Show you some different ways you can bind your journals. I'm not an expert by any means, but I have experimented a fair share. Need just a little bit more PVA glue. So I'll have to do the other one off camera because we're already at an hour real time. And that's okay because it's the same exact process, okay? It's the same exact process. And I already have my signatures ready, or at least tentatively. So I'll show you those in the next video for this project. I've got 4 signatures, 2 for the lap book and 2 for the regular journal. So I'll share those with you as well. And we get a little bit, well, probably the next video that we do for this journal, these journals, okay? So I'm, again, just slowly getting that out there. We got a little extra here, but that's okay. We will deal with that later. I'm just using the paper towel to just spread that out. Okay, yeah, we've got a issue there, but I don't want to go in there and cut that off because there's glue, wet glue and stuff. So we do need to focus on our little spines. I'm going to turn this. I hope this doesn't confuse anybody, but I need room here. So I just turned it upside down, and I'm going to do that same thing. I'm going to massage that area here where that seam is for our mini spine. I'm just calling it a mini spine because it's half of the regular size. Okay. And then again, the next fold. I know this is kind of hard to see. Okay, and it looks really, really amazing. Really, really amazing, you guys. Look at this. Wow. So let's look what the front is going to look like. So that when it folds, I'm not going to mess with it too much. When it folds, it's going to go like this. Okay, look at that. Look at our cover. You never know what you're going to get, but look at that. It's perfect. Look at the spine. And even those spines, they're opposite colors. So that's really contrasty. And look at that. That's upside down. But, you know, how did that get upside down? Because this is not upside down. It must just be the design of the fabric. But that is it, guys. Pardon me. So sorry. So what I do is I take a big clip and I hang this like I would hang my laundry. Okay, so like this, and I hang it from a shelf, and it allows it to dry open, and hanging, you know, just hanging and letting gravity kind of help out a little bit, if that makes any sense. So I will need to trim off some of those hairy edges later because that was a little bit too wide, probably because I didn't do enough on this edge. But isn't that amazing? So we will be back in the next video, and I'll show you how I'll show you the covered second journal, and then we will we'll start working on the signatures. I do like to get the signatures in early when I'm doing a lap book, because you don't have quite as much freedom, because basically, I forgot to even mention this. This is already warping, so it's not a true representation. But so my signatures are going to get sewed in here and here. Okay, so that means I have so 3. So I've got 1.5 inches for each signature, And then I'm not sure exactly where we might do some other flip outs because you have this area here as well. Okay, so I'm not sure what we're going to do there. Probably do some kind of an insert. We'll see when we get there. Oh, that's that hairy edge. But that's kind of how it works. Now, I did do one lap book journal where I sewed the signatures in on the small spine, and I did not like that. So we're going to be putting them on the main spine. We're not going to be doing a hidden spine because we literally have no room because our panels all measure the same. So see how that's snug like a box? So I won't have the opportunity to do a hidden spine, but that's okay. I'll show you how to do a regular spines with the strings showing on the outside. So that is it for tonight. Thank you guys so much. I am so excited about this fabric. Oh, we'll use the rest of it. We'll hopefully I should have enough. I have enough for the other journal, but I hope I have other pieces we can play with inside of the journal as well. So I will see you guys next time. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.